Quick question, how many people have fallen asleep at the wheel? Quick show of hands. Okay. I'm not only the hair club president, but I was certainly almost not the first customer of this cap. I totaled a car years ago. So when my colleague Helen Singh came up with this idea and I saw what it was, I said, we've got to get this out there, not only to the troops, but to the civilian population. So what we'd like to talk about today is the Alert Cap. And this was an invention of Helen's that was designed to help keep our soldiers as well as commercial civilian marketplace folk alive, alert, and well. And this is a fairly classic example of technology transfer for us in the Army's Medical Research and Material Command. And you'll hear today a little bit about our commercialization methodology as well as the technology. We all know that the risk of falling asleep at the wheel could be not only your job, but not only your life, other people's lives. Our goal is to see that you don't fall asleep at the wheel. And by the way, since we are in Texas, for those of you familiar with the band Asleep at the Wheel, they did grant us permission to use their logo for this purpose, and we appreciate that. So this is basically a technology designed to help folk who are bored, doing monotonous jobs, maybe even sitting in conferences in the future, but right now the transportation industry primarily. And our goal is to catch somebody before they doze off. By the time your head's nodding, it could be too late. You're off the road, you've already committed some kind of problem. So each year we lose thousands of people worldwide to falling asleep. Not to mention all the injuries that occur in factories because of people being careless, not to mention the quality of products that may be on the streets as a result of somebody who might not have caught something because they weren't alert. And we expect a certain level of care. You know, if your nuclear reactor inspector is asleep at the wheel, the implications are significantly different. Chernobyl, no surprise, actually happened in the middle of the night. The current technologies are really not aimed at catching you before you've actually nodded, and that's where we come in. I'd like to introduce Helen Singh, the inventor of the technology.
I want to mention that our alert cap will monitor your brain continuously and determine whether you are awake, and alert with greater high-frequency brain waves, or sound asleep and with greater amount of low-frequency brain waves, or whether you are in a neutral state where you are awake but not alert at all. And this is the situation where the alert cap will sound the alarm immediately and arouse you before you become drowsy and fall asleep within seconds. Okay? The alert cap uses off-the-shelf components consisting of the sensors for the brain, the alarm system, and the battery. The electronic ASIC chip controls the entire procedure from acquisition to processing and analysis of the brain waves to determine your alert status. Okay. And it does it on a second-by-second basis. The alert cap is an active dynamic system in contrast to reactive systems which monitor eyelid closure, eye blinks, or head nodding for determining alertness loss. These systems require cameras to capture the particular movements and complex algorithms to determine the alertness loss. Therefore, they inhibit mobile activity, and you're sitting there rigidly being monitored. The alert cap, on the other hand, is a personal ambulatory system and therefore allows you normal activity. So therefore, ideally, it is suited for monitoring soldiers, truckers, airline pilots, railroad engineers, and indeed everyone who requires monitoring for alertness. Consequently, the market for the alert cat can potentially be very large, as Barry will show you in actual stats what that is.
The transportation industry is our primary market. Because so many of these transportation individuals are regulated in what they can do or what they could have in either a cockpit or a train, we believe that the involvement of the government will be valuable in establishing perhaps some of these applications as just safety measures. It's not just the conductor's life at stake, but truly everybody in there. We'd like to price it somewhere around what current technology that's out there, like noise cancellation headphones, would be priced. And we expect that ultimately this would become affordable at the personal level. We have a number of groups working on it, but we're looking for a commercial license. We're also willing to entertain a startup opportunity. The remote version is what the military needs most, where we could actually deal with folks at a distance, but truckers don't want dispatchers to know necessarily what's going on. This technology was developed through the Walter Reed Army Institute, as well as in collaboration with a number of other groups within the Army. If you have ancillary technology, funding, startup interest, or wish to be a creative development partner, licensee of ours, we invite you to come to the booth right behind you. And if you have trouble staying awake yourself, we have another solution, which is the caffeinated gum, which we'll hand out to anybody in the crowd who would like some.